Greetings guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome back to another video where I will be sitting on my couch and oversharing because today we are going to be doing another mental health memes video because although they're not my most popular videos, they are some of my most requested, and so I'm here to bring you another installment. Last time we did ADHD, the time before that we did BPD, and today we will be looking at PTSD memes because, hi, I have PTSD. And obviously BPD and ADHD. I have a lot going on in my brain. It's a really fun time. I love it. I love living in here. Anyway, let's get into the memes. Oh, before we start, obviously, trigger warning here, content warning of, I will obviously be talking about mental health and PTSD. So if that is something that is a trigger for you and it's not a conversation that you want to have, feel free to click off and I will see you next time. I won't be talking about any super sensitive triggering matters. That's not what this video is. This is about relatability among people who struggle with PTSD and trauma. Okay, so with that warning being said, let's get into the memes. This first one isn't particularly PTSD related, but I came across it and it is like one of the most relatable things I've ever read in my entire life, so I had to include it. And that is the raging urge to delete every social media, change my phone number, revamp my style, switch up my whole image, start waking up earlier, go to the gym every day, read 5 new books, move country, start my life over, and never be deceived ever again, all at 2:57 a.m. every night. Yeah! I felt this one to my core, in my soul. Doing what I do and coming on the internet and talking and sharing is very stressful sometimes. I am someone who has always overshared on the internet. I've been on social media for a long time. I was one of those people who had I had a venting Instagram account that was toxic as fuck, and then a recovery Instagram account, and then I had a spam account, I had fan accounts. Everything under the freaking sun I've had and I've overshared on. And it's taken me a really long time to learn how to not overshare on the internet. If you think I overshare now, boy oh boy, are you so mistaken. I used to use it as a mental health venting place, right? And so because I have BPD, when I have hypomanic episodes, I really want to just say stuff. And it's I'm not myself, I'm not in control of myself, and I have to try to stop myself from doing that. But also at the same time, in doing that and in my fear of doing it, my urge is to also just delete the internet because I feel very annoying. So delete the internet, run away from my friends and my family, but I have so much adrenaline and so much energy in my body that I want to run 10 marathons and I want to read a bunch of books and I want to do all of this stuff and start fresh, completely new. But at the same time, because I have mixed episodes, I don't typically just feel hypomania. I am also my depression gets worse at the same time that I'm hypomanic. So at the same exact time, I'm really depressed. It's really annoying, really frustrating. The only way I can describe it is that it feels like I'm being ripped in half from the inside out and I want to crawl out of my skin. Anyway, this happens a lot. My brain's fun. I love it. It's good. It's good. It's good. It's good. So this is the meme with the yellow ball and then the pink monster. So this person is like me, enjoying the show, and then the pink monster comes and grabs them, and it says, a scene comes up which will trigger flashbacks, but I continue watching through because I'm worried I'll miss an important part. That is the biggest mood. But what if it's important? What if I miss something? What if I miss something? Is it a really bad idea to keep watching? Yeah. Can it put me in bed for the next several days? Yeah, it can. Can it really fuck me up? Yeah. But what if it's important? Is my mental health more important than the TV show or movie that I'm watching? Absolutely. Will I prioritize it? Yeah, I'm gonna prioritize the TV or movie over my brain because I think that I can handle more than I actually can. Which ties really nicely into the next one, which is just don't, in a bunch of different formats. And this is my brain to myself when I am on the internet and I see trigger warning SA or trigger warning ED, trigger warning SH. And I know I should not read it. I should not read. I should stop and I shouldn't read because it's not important. They've given a trigger warning. They're like, don't read this if this is something that would trigger you. They've deliberately told me that so that I know not to read it. And what do? I read it every time. Every freaking time. I never not read them. When I read something that's like trigger warning SA or trigger warning abuse, I know full well I should stop, I should click off, and I should keep scrolling. I should go anywhere else. But I have to know what it's gonna say because I'm like, I can handle it. I can handle it. It's fine. You know what it's about, so like you're prepared. Never am. Always a bad idea. Recently, I was on Twitter and it was one that was like trigger warning SA, and I was like, it's okay, I'll be fine. Read it, couldn't do work for the next 3 days because it happens all the time. Why do I keep doing it? Why do I keep doing it? Why? Why do we do this? Don't do it. Trigger warnings exist for a reason. Please pay attention to them. Know your limit. Next up, we have Elmo. There is a nice layout of fruit that is get ready for a big meeting with your boss bitch mix, or the powder, which is quite obviously flour, nothing else. It's flour. Trigger your PTSD by listening to Bells of Santa Fe on repeat and then going straight for that one. Now, I'm assuming this is Bells in Santa Fe, which is a Halsey song, because when I googled Bells of Santa Fe, it only came up with Bells in Santa Fe, so I have to assume. And also, based on the song, makes sense because same. Same. Oh my god, same. Halsey writes such good music. The trauma bonding between Halsey and Halsey stans is like so real. She writes the most real, honest, raw songs. That entire album, her If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power album, is like so incredible. And the short film they did with it is beautiful and so horrific. It's incredible. They are such an incredible artist. She makes incredible art. So talented at literally everything. I've been listening to their music since I was 15, a few months before Badlands came out, and as they've released their music, it has been like perfectly in line with what I am experiencing in my life. I've always found so much comfort and validation within her music, especially like Hopeless Fountain Kingdom came out when I was just leaving my abusive relationship. And that album is effectively about that. That is what that album is about. And I found so much comfort and validation in that album. Like this here of listening to Bells of Santa Fe on repeat, this is me with 100 letters. 100 letters, I have a tattoo for it. It's envelopes numbered 97 to 100 lit on fire, because it's like, that song is all about overcoming trauma and sitting with this trauma of someone who has touched you unwantingly, but you taking back the power, but like still struggling with that and being like, I'm not going back to this. I can't be with you anymore. You've hurt me repeatedly, but sitting with that. It's terrible. It's heartbreaking. But it's so relatable, and I found so much comfort in that. And so have a lot of Halsey stans. That is a favorite among everyone, which is really sad. It's deserved. It's a fantastic song. Very sad that that's like one of the most popular songs of hers. Manic album is all about bipolar and love and relationships and wanting to be a mother, but having this mental health issue and also fame that really impacts you and how you navigate the world, navigate through that. And then If I Can't Have Love, I Want Power is all about sexuality and the horrors of pregnancy and the want to be a mother, but also how terrifying that is and how horrific pregnancy is, but how beautiful it is. And it's all the stuff that people don't really talk about, but is really important. And there are a few songs that are kind of triggering on the album, but also incredibly powerful and incredibly relatable. And there's so much just like power. It's such a fucking fantastic album. It is one of the greatest albums. It's incredible. Please listen to it if you haven't. If you go way back to when I first started the channel, I did a deep dive into her Badlands album. People have been asking me to do ones for her later albums, which I might do on my second channel because some of my favorite music ever. I love Halsey so much, like an indescribable amount, and they've helped me a lot. And sorry, I just talked about Halsey for ages, but the meme mentioned her. This isn't my fault. The meme mentioned them. I had to talk about them. So, and yes, before I get comments on it, this is a Dan and Phil mug. Well, it made you a teensy bit stronger. Traumatic memories, irrational fear of people, random flashbacks to shitty events, inability to be a normal functioning member of society, potential relationship issues stemming from maladaptive stress responses, future therapy bills. And it's all piling up and getting more and more and more. And yeah, see, this is a really tricky one, right? This is a really, really tricky one because absolutely, I agree. I have different groups of different sets of trauma, but the main core one that caused my PTSD is the relationship I was in from when I was 14 to 17, right? And like, it's this really frustrating thing of, yeah, being in that relationship fucked me up so much. It has taken away so much of my life. It took away all of my teenage years. It ruined the way I view myself, I view relationships, it ruined the way that I communicate with people. So much it has taken from me, and it continues to impact me all the time, and it's awful, and it's horrific, and it makes me so angry and so upset. And yeah, I absolutely, absolutely wish that I did not have to live like this, that I didn't have to live with this, and will continue to have to live with this. I really, really, really wish that I didn't have to. However, I need to tell myself that it made me stronger. I need to tell myself that I'm here because of it, that the experiences I went through are for a reason, so that I can talk about it, so that I can help people. It pushed me to get here. And I have to tell myself these things in order for me to deal with it, and in order to live with it and not let it totally consume me. I have to make myself think like, it happened for a reason. However, no one else is allowed to say that to me. I can say to myself, it made me stronger. It's taught me a lot. But no one else can say that to me because it's horrific, and I want other people to wish for me to have never been through that. There is no point in me sitting and wishing that it never happened, because it did. And so I can't waste my energy on being like, I wish this didn't happen to me. It's not fair. Like, it's not. And I do say that, but I can't focus on that because it did happen. I just have to focus on getting through it. And one of the ways I can do that, and I have to do that, is by, being like, at least I'm stronger. It's taught me about the world. But no one else is allowed to say that to me. That's crossing a boundary. You can't say, at least it made you stronger. It's made you who you are. Fuck off. Don't say that to me because it's awful. And I don't want you to validate that happened to me and that you think it was like a good thing, because it's not. Yeah. So in this instance, Patrick said it to SpongeBob. So he's in the wrong. And I would be pissed off and I would be SpongeBob. However, I think to myself these things in order to not completely crumble sometimes. Okay. This is that like meme from The Flash, I think, of him like standing in front of the grave being like, heh. And the grave says, the version of me that could have existed if I wasn't traumatized at a young age. And he says, the shittier version of me that currently exists. And this nicely transitions from the last one of like, it's really interesting to think about because like, I don't know who I would be without my trauma, right? It's really interesting because like, family trauma starts pretty much fresh out the womb. We are who we are raised to be by the people we are raised by. And so since it's so deep into my core, I don't really know who I would be without it because like I've had family issues my whole life. So I can't really think about who I would be if I changed my entire childhood, because my childhood is who I am as a person. So it's really interesting. It's that nature versus nurture thing. At what point am I me, But if I were to look specifically at my teenage years and that relationship that I was in, if I were to have not gotten into that, how different would I be as a person? The answer is incredibly. I don't think about it. I don't have time to waste thinking about that. I wasn't in the best space going into that relationship. It just got a bajillion times worse when I did. I am mostly happy with who I am as a person right now. Where I am, what I've achieved, what I'm doing, my moral compass, etc. Like, I am happy with who I am as a person. I struggle with myself and like self-esteem and self-love and worth and all that sort of stuff. But overall, as a person, I like who I am, you know? And if I hadn't have gone through that, would I still be this person? Would I be as like compassionate? Would I be as empathetic? I wouldn't have as deep of an understanding of things, but I would still have more, I don't know, it would be really different. And I've never really put much thought into who I would be. It's interesting, Taylor Swift's song, right? The should've, could've, would've. The like, you took my girlhood from me line, like that was mine and you took it. That line hits really hard because yeah, I didn't have that. I didn't have that, and I don't know who I would be if I did. If I was able to be a teenager, if I could have been a child. Like, I don't know. I didn't have that. So, I don't know who I would be. But, you know, I'm happy with my life right now, for the most part. So, that's the thing. It's like, would you change it? It's like, yes, I would, but also, you know, I don't know what life would hold if I didn't. But also, I don't want him thinking that I wouldn't change it, you know? Complicated. PTSD is fucking annoying. It's messy. Not having a flashback in a few weeks. And then the pink monster. Realizing that remembering everything but being able to dissociate, then snap yourself out of it is still a flashback, even though it wasn't bad enough. Alright, I didn't need to be called out by this one. Ow. Let me invalidate myself in peace. Because yeah, this happens so much when I start having like a memory and I start remembering stuff and I feel myself going there. I'm like, no, actually, not today. Not today. And then instead of being like a fully immersive flashback where I'm in the moment, it's like still playing out, but it's like in the back of my brain. Like I can feel it, but I can't feel it. You know, I can't see it. I can't smell it. Can't hear it. Any of that. Can't do that. But I can, like, I know it's happening. It's somewhere in my brain. That won't make sense if you don't have PTSD. But like, I'm able to like see through. It's kind of like in my peripheral vision, but like I'm able to not be immersed in it. Does it count? Yeah. But like, my brain, a familiar smell. Is this 2009? Oh my god. Yeah, it's so interesting how the brain stores memories and how closely linked smell is to your memories. Like, it's wild. Because like, personally, mine is like cologne or body spray or whatever. That's the worst one for me. And my ex wore the freaking classic teenage boy Lynx body spray because he was a teenage boy, so he wore that. And everyone fucking wears that. Everyone. And not just a little bit. They douse themselves in it. And so I'll just be like out and someone will walk past me and I'm like, I need to sit down for a long time. I'll be on the bus and some guy will get on and he's wearing like a ton of Lynx body spray and I have to hold my breath until we get to the next stop and then get off and wait for the next bus. Because I can't be in there. Why is smell so closely linked to your brain? And why, when I smell it, do I suddenly am in a really terrible, fully immersive flashback? I don't need that. I don't want it. Make it go away. I don't like it. Flashbacks are annoying. And I don't like them. Getting unexpectedly triggered in the middle of a work day and everything is like there's like a million of everything and it's all hazy and wobbly and stuff. And like, yeah, this image actually describes it really, really well. You kind of just lose it because you start seeing something that isn't there. It's not hallucinating, but it is very real. I don't really know how to explain it. If you don't know what PTSD is, I probably should have started the video with this, but I'll put it here anyway. I didn't really know what PTSD was until I'd had it for a while, you know, and then I found out what it was and why it works. But like, basically when you go through a traumatic event, your brain doesn't want to like process it. So it doesn't really store properly as a memory because it doesn't finish like processing or something. And then when you have something that triggers it, your brain's like, oh shit, I haven't finished processing this freaking memory. Let's go try do that now. Let's play it back. So then this memory plays as though it is happening right now in that moment. So you can like see it, you can hear it, you can smell it, you can feel it. It's very, very real. And it's happening like immersively, but while you're doing your everyday tasks. So like you can be at work and you can keep working, but you'll also be in this fully immersive traumatic memory, and it's really, really horrific. And then sometimes it'll spiral. So like sometimes when I have a really, really bad episode, it's like I'll have one memory and that'll trigger a different memory. Since my trauma is like a really prolonged period of time, it was like 2.5 years of my life, I have just like massive holes in my memory because I was like effectively being constantly traumatized and my brain hasn't really wanted to process that entire period of my life. So I'm missing entire chunks of my life. My friends will talk about stuff I don't remember. I don't remember anything. I have very, very little memory of that part of my life. And whenever I start to remember something, even if it's a good thing, it'll then trigger into something else that I'd like forgotten about. I'd packed it away in my brain, but having a good memory, then it'll sometimes lead into something that was traumatic, and then I'll start remembering something that I didn't want to remember. And yeah, it's not fun. And then you just see it all play out and you can feel it, you can smell. Oh, it's not good. I don't like it. I used to have sleep paralysis all the time too. It's not a fun time. Yeah, so being triggered at work isn't fun. I don't go into a workplace anymore, so I am at home when I get triggered, so I can like stop and go lie down or something like that, which is really helpful. But like when I used to work in retail, I started working just after I left and I was constantly living in fear. And so I would get triggered regularly and have to go sit down or continue helping customers while not really being in the real world. Here is someone with their brain staring at a box of trauma, and they say, you need to do something about this, to their brain. And then they turn the trauma box into a box of jokes. Yeah, pretty much. You have to joke about it and you have to laugh about it in order for it to not feel as terrible. You've got to talk about it. You got to make yourself desensitized to it, because the more you talk about it and the more you joke about it, the less intimidating and scary it becomes, the less power it holds over you. The easier it is to like just live your life and deal with it. Jokes really help. Talking really helps. I kind of just try to talk about it. Not in huge detail, but like the fact that it happened and stuff, because then it has less power over me. And joking about it gives it even less power. And it's funny. It's not, but it is. As long as other people don't joke about my trauma, you know? Everyone can joke about their own trauma. Don't joke about other people's trauma. But yeah. Relatability is fun too, right? Like these memes. These are funny, kinda. And the final one is Homer Simpson saying, wow, the fortune cookies here really are more accurate. And it says, you can and will get through this. And I just wanted to finish this off with this one because I know I've just spent this entire video talking about how awful it is to live with PTSD. And it absolutely is. I have had PTSD for several years now. But it does get easier. And I know how difficult and how awful it can be and how life-consuming it can be, especially when you are fresh out of a situation. But I do promise you that it does get easier. The trauma stays. They don't stop hurting, but it does get easier to live with. You can gain power back over those memories. You can gain power back over your life, and it does get easier, and life can be good, and you just have some bad days, but the bad days get fewer and further between. And you know, like I said, I quite enjoy my life at the moment, and although yeah, sometimes it's really hard and it sucks, for the most part it's pretty good. And you know, I'm really proud of myself for overcoming everything that I've been through. And I hope that, you know, that gives you any sort of hope or strength at all. I believe in you, and I hope that you believe in yourself as well. And know that you aren't alone. This is where I am going to end my video because my camera is about to die. Massive thank you to my Sprout and Above patrons whose names are up on the screen right now. And a huge thank you to my Kiwi Cat patrons. Wolf, Toulouse, Bobby, Sparrow, Josh, Mandy, Robbie, Christy, Ikazel, The Alienated Librarian, Non-Euclid System, Skylar Dowd, Ishtar Hope, and Eldo. I love and appreciate you all so much. Thank you so much for joining. If you would like to become a patron, you go to patreon.com/studycat. For as little as £1 a month, you get my videos a day early, as well as the podcasts a week early. And then for £3 and up, you get extras like outtakes and bonus mini podcasts and live streams, etc. Don't forget to follow me on Instagram, TheQueerKiwi, and Twitter, ThatQueerKiwi. I hope that you enjoy the rest of your day. Stay safe. Keep fighting. I love you. Mwah. When you close your eyes, you replace the darkness with light. You replace the monsters with fairies. You replace the hate with love. Which is quite obviously flower, nothing else. It's flower.